The album is divided into two parts. This is part 1, which contains tracks 1 through 7. Giant Lotus actually has a reference to the Odyssey by Homer. The first chapter talks of lotuses that are addictive and hard to get away from. This gave me the idea to refer to the lotus as a symbol for addictive, easy technology. You will hear about the network source in Save the World. Giant Lotus is that network source explained. So I got somebody else to do the drumming on the track because I wanted it to have a strong rock feeling throughout this song. I usually don't like going off of other music vibes, when making a reference to how I got inspired musically by this song. I was thinking of a Madonna-esque, like a virgin, yeah. No. Like a prayer. I actually started working on this, years ago. And I was thinking of kind of singing it out to everybody. I still do that to this day. I feel like it's really important for people to understand that this is, it's kind of another crisis that's going on altogether. As far as structure goes for a song, this was one of those times where I just kind of wanted to let everything out. I let whatever was placed was how it is, basically. I've been doing this for all my work lately. I thought this was a big let go. I used to kind of have try to sing in a lower pitch, the bridge, but I felt like it just wasn't working, so I went higher, of course. Renaissance 1 is one of the album's messages. There are things wrong, and we must come together to correct what we have done wrong with the planet and the environment around us. Tracks after Renaissance display what else is wrong with the world and ourselves. The referred melodies are Fifth Symphony Intro by Ludwig van Beethoven and In the Hall of the Mountain King by Grieg. I wanted to refer to the reference tracks in this song because I want to take you back in time to what it could have been like in the Renaissance era, when everybody was making music, making buildings, making paintings, etc., and everything, and with all the intricate details they did and their own stylization. A lot of times when I'm listening to music like that, I'm like, how did they come up with that out of nothing, basically, other than what's in their heart? How can they do that so straightforward? Make melodies like that. I thought it was amazing. It's always going to be amazing to me. I bet that everything that they did in the Renaissance era, the actual Renaissance era, made the world a lot more colorful. I guess we need that kind of help now. We need that help to make the world colorful in a good, brightening way to the world. I decided to kind of add this little melody after the previous melody nice to kind of try to transform it into its own like kind of song in a way. So the ending that's coming up with the drums, it's like I want you to go like more drums, more like tom-toms and stuff. Basically, I wanted to make it a little more exciting with like sampling of like cutting pieces of other drums. I thought it would make it more exciting. It kind of gives it its own like unique like whoa crisis feeling in the track. I also imagine like I usually have like a good choreography going on in my car when I'm listening to this. The only really sampling that's going on is like the and then all the other drumming is like I try to work on myself. I did have like a little bit of a background in drumming, but that's not how I came up with like the unique rhythm for that. It's kind of hard to do on a computer. I want to expand how I record drums in the future. This is how the grass grows. There's two different messages here. There's a crisis going on and we need to fix the crisis, even if we've been mistreated. Also, the verses and chorus explain to stop acting like you know everything about the world. Boasting about your beliefs were not made to bring you up or put you down. I wanted this to kind of be like a weird, like classical, like futuristic type vibe. I always imagine like now like a phone call going on with the verse intros that are going on here. So what I intended was like the guy that's talking saying, "Don't forget a finger pointing mad society." I like imagine that was the guy on the phone trying to help out somebody. Later on, the guy gets offended, but then he ends up like kind of forgiving the person and going like, "Here, you hurt me before, but I'm still gonna try to help you." I feel like that's a really good character. That does happen often wherever I work. It's like sometimes somebody bothers me and I won't want to talk to them, but then like I kind of look at them in a different light later on. I go, okay, you know what? Maybe they could help me. I could help them. You know, like hopefully it would work out that way if we like, especially when we learn from our past mistakes of why we don't really like getting pointed at or anything. So the ending where it goes, "This is how the sea glows, baby." It's basically like a broadcasting of, hey, this is going on here. It's like you're all arguing, but look at the reality of what's going on. I'm not referring to an actual like crisis. I kind of made up the crisis for the song, but I thought it would like give an interesting twist to the plot because there's an actual like plot in the song. It's kind of like lyrically with that. I feel like the chorus is way too predictable like the first time around, but then the second time I try to escape that predictability. This time the guy calls the singer girl. "Let's go to the sea," and then before we know, "Let's put it on TV." just wanted to give it like a new vibe. At the end, I wasn't going for like angelic, oh, this is the answer. But it is kind of like, when you listen to it, it's just, I think of it as more like, oh, you're trying to help the world around you. So it's a big relief somebody's speaking up about it. Inner daughter is not a physical pregnancy. It is a pregnancy of your soul. You are always talking to your future self because they know the best route for you. I think of it as your actual child version of you. If you're having issues with connecting with your soul, it may be because there are other people constantly wanting to keep you with them, and they are keeping you from your inner peace. This is another song I came up with years ago. Yeah, I just like remember being in my basement, coming up with like a little melody, and then all the words just kind of float out. It doesn't always happen that way. Like, I worked kind of differently before than I do now, clearly, because I always try to find new ways, but it had like about the same lyrics and everything. I just kept having different outros for the song, and I wasn't too sure why I kept doing what I was doing. So then I was trying to see about like just kind of like calming it down, but like blending it in with like the rest of the song. So it's kind of like a little like finishing piece, except for the outro. But it does, the actual outro. Crap, the actual outro is like the repeated melody, backing melody. What I'm referring to as the outro lyrically is, but it's not the same without you. I kept going, I made it like a lot more exciting the other takes before, and I realized it didn't even work with the feel of the song, you know, it just makes it so like, but it's not the same without you, and it's like trying to get like more like energetic and exciting, but like that's not really how I feel with the track. The reason I'm saying it's not like it's not the same without you, basically. It's just kind of like remembering, you know, friends that I had before who I thought were good friends and like were willing to help me, and it's not the same without them. This is great to have here, but like when I sing live, I'm always like, oh god, I need to cut it shorter. But yeah, I hope it's an enjoyable experience when you listen to the actual album version. Human is about recognizing we're all human, obviously. There are better role models such as great listeners, teachers, and people who are motivated to live their dreams and share great stories about their lives. Instrumentally, this was probably the hardest song to work with on the album. It was a newer track I was intending. I just had a hard time with like the mixing, for it to be like loud enough. But then I felt like I was mixing a whole bunch of different like genres and vibes together, and I was like trying to figure out how I was going to make it work, and I was having a kind of hard time with this one. In fact, I was like thinking a lot of the time, yeah, don't put it on here. It's just not working out. I managed to get it to work. I'm not the happiest with it, but I mean, it still shares that message that we're all human, and usually it's like some of the better humans. Oh. I mean, I don't know if we should be thinking like that, but like some of the better role models are like teachers, motivated believers, and everything, like just pretty much going out there, doing what they can, and then sharing about it later on and everything. Like, oh, what did you end up doing? I did this. Wow, magic. It was hard to come up with what I wanted to come up with for like like kind of after the bridge to make it feel like it's all like coming together after sharing what I feel is like the best of somebody is being at their highest, but then still willing to listen to the lower people, as in like high what they've achieved with their dreams, and then with lower people like how they want to achieve their dreams or how they're trying to struggle to make a dream come true, or people that aren't even like motivated, like I don't know what to do. But like once you hear from these great humans, you know, then it starts to make you feel a little more human, I hope. Mascara is about recognizing what is going on with yourself and others during the COVID era. I work at a supermarket, and it is easy to see how others are affected. This also hurts me to see what issues others are going through so much. So if you go on my YouTube page, you'll see that I made this shortly after releasing Creature, and I think Skunk as well. And I got a lot of positive reactions about it with like the happy vibe that it has melodically. But I mean, it's kind of like, again, it makes me sad thinking, like seeing the lyrics of what I have here. I know some people think it's stupid, me talking about how it's like we're wearing masks and we're kind of like, I'm trying to hide the truth that I have an ugly face, you know, stuff like that. So I say this in Human, I also say this in Mascara. I feel alone in this museum, but the rules are catching up in their own way. Basically, oh, by the way, the title Mascara is mask, the era that contains masks. It's about basically like you're just watching a whole bunch of people on screens and stuff while you're working, and it's like feels like a museum. And the rules of the workplace and what people are sitting around you like kind of concoct your world a little bit if you're trying to listen to them. Is that like it's kind of blending into how I get my brain molded. That's why I'm saying in my clay is the brain, obviously. I think as time goes on, it seems like a lot of like the better parts of life are kind of like going away, and then what's like not so talented or anything is kind of heightening up because that's the more favored thing, I guess, the more favored lifestyle. It's great to have unique people, but like I feel like it would help to have more unique people, like such as, you know, the Renaissance era. I don't know if there were like a ton of painters or anything, but it really shaped our world as it is today. And good people like that do keep shaping the world to be a better place. It's not easy to see in a place like a supermarket, though, because it's just kind of like people complaining about how you're not getting the prices right on items and everything. Which it's like, I can understand if you're working on a great vision, but if you're feeling kind of like, oh, I have to feed my daughter a bunch of crap or something like that, then or son, yeah, it's just not going to work out in the end. Because it's like, you're just kind of like rotting yourself. I've been rotting myself lately all over again. But I remember when I had like a better lifestyle of like, you know, eating healthy, following your dreams like I'm doing now. But like, I feel kind of crappier because of like what we're getting reduced to as far as like how we're eating, how we're probably not limited to going to the bathroom too, but like how you're trying to exist and everything. It's like starting to kind of dumb down and feel a lot more limited. Save the world is the thesis in all of part 1. The world is melting in all of our fires, and we must put out those fires. It reviews the stated problems and is sharing that the Renaissance is the solution. We can save the world. I wanted to make an exciting rock song. I was actually inspired by the Pokemon theme song. Not only for the, like, rock vibe, but also for, like, the kind of structure that they had. I had a guy named Mancini do the guitar solo that's here. Incredible work. I asked him, he got it right on the first try, basically. So basically, with like the vibe, it's kind of a little unusual, but still kind of cool that I wanted to work with like a rock vibe, but then I brought a dance beat into it for the sampling, the drums, basically. I like experimenting with that. I would like to keep experimenting with that, how like different genres can blend in interesting ways. I also imagined a man singing the verse, the big verse of the song, which starts here. I imagined like a man singing it, and then I eventually imagined like I gradually with each part kind of come in a little bit louder, and then I'm like doing a little duet in the verse. And like I'm referring to the earlier tracks. So like, about the network source, that's Giant Lotus. We will be the Renaissance is kind of obvious. This is how the grass grows. Talking about arguing free-for-alls. Going against others' intuition is inner daughter. Forgetting that we're all human, obviously. And then the world in shutdown manner, we lose, is basically trying to face the mascara. We're not always going to have a perfect society. We're not always going to have a great time. But we kind of need to have that in our lives. So it's like, for whatever reason, I kind of imagined the ending to also be kind of like a national anthem in a way. So that's my bag, yep. The album is divided into 2 parts. Part 2 contains tracks 8 through 14. The stone is about a desire to get something and intending it to be a big part of your life. I am referring to a stone because unfortunately I cannot attain the stone as a source of greatness in my life, but the imagination is what makes it count here. I do ponder about what it could be like having the stone in my life. I would love it. I got inspired by an advertisement. I thought it was the Hamilton musical, but I didn't really listen to it with audio, but I kind of got like a vibe for how I thought they were explaining it as the chorus. Like, just kind of like the one idea getting a little bit bigger, and then you're like, I gotta make this a reality, basically. I'm all about making, your ideas into a reality. I think it helps out immensely for not only your own mind's sake, but also for, it's 1:38 in the morning, sorry. But it does help your mind's health. It's like you've got like a cycle, I see it as, in life. And this basically is helping out that cycle so you can actually move on when you're like applying your dreams into a reality. Also, like, determination for like achieving that kind of thing is what I believe in, even for this song. I am singing as the chorale. I sang in the chorale for Save the World as well. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, I just thought it would be like a strong like part for the song, and it like weighs against the kind of simplistic, like drums and just kind of like little chorus I sing. I don't do a lot of layering of vocals on this album because I kind of want to be like really straightforward, and I don't really need like a whole lot of emphasis on what I'm doing that for. So I always kind of laugh, and I'm like, look at that display, da 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 da, yeah, look at that display. Like I was kind of trying to be a little funny because I kept saying display, and that was it. But the point was, look at the display, it's nice. I like to think of the ending of The Stone as like a new beginning. That's why I make it like really epic of, okay, you learned what you learned, now you're gonna move on. Be a good leader. You gotta do this. Crown is about attending to leadership when in need. If you share a voice on what you believe would help the world, the leadership may as well put this into action. I called it Crown because of the symbol of leadership. So sonically, the intro, I was inspired actually by Knights of Sidonia by Muse, where it's like dun dun dun, but like then I kind of gave it this like cutesy island vibe, which I really like to express that kind of aesthetic musically. I kind of liked, I do this with Howling at the Moon as well, where basically I feel like I'm taking the structure, moving it forward, and then I'm kind of going backwards in a way. So it's like A, B, C, D, A. So, yep. And then I kind of work around lyrically how it would fit in with that. I kind of would in the future like to experiment more like how I did in this song lyrically, like at the end, or melodically with lyrics at the end, because I kind of like say it one way and then I kind of change it up in another way when I repeat the chorus. I kind of last minute came up with the how in the end, because I just thought it would help out with like the how bum bum. I just thought it would be a lot more catchy that way. The bosses I'm referring to is like anybody that's like a boss role. Or what I'm saying with, let's see, I am the cocaine when I know what I'm doing. When I know what I'm doing, I have a lot more confidence, and like, I don't know, somehow to other people, like, as far as what they say to me, at least, are like, wow, you're amazing. Basically, it's kind of like that's why I said cocaine. And then I am the LSD when they're looking at me. Because, I mean, like, there are people that will look at me as a role model and for, like, the future, basically. Like, I'm trying to make it better for us, and, you know, anybody, young or old, is learning from that. Hunted You Down is actually about someone who I thought was nice until I realized he was harassing a coworker of mine while she was working. After hearing what I learned, I was determined to have the boundary set as a big action for the workplace. This means that determination is key when it's really needed, whether you want something to grow or something to be cut off in this case. So this song I worked on the day I tried to hunt the guy down, because I was like, wow, that was a big accomplishment, and I don't get to do that a whole lot in life, because often when I try to like approach people, I usually get kind of scared and thinking about, I don't know what's the right thing to do sometimes, unfortunately. You know, some people are saying, what I'm doing is wrong. Sometimes they're right, other times it's like a big conflict of like, what am I supposed to be doing here, mentally. Sometimes a lot of the times when I am trying to do the right thing, there are people coming after me going like, hey, you're doing this really wrong, you gotta change this, blah, blah. It messes with me. But this time I knew somebody was doing something wrong, and I was determined to get to him and be like, yo, you cannot come here anymore. You cannot bother anybody anymore. Luckily, there were other managers and stuff that talked to him and are like, okay, look, you can't come here anymore. So it was achieved. That's what I'm referring to in the second verse. If I were more and more like you, I feel so blue, maybe I'd hide my life too. Basically, it's like the guy seemed nice that I was talking to, but he didn't really talk a whole lot about himself at all. And now with like this going on, I can kind of see why. And then I say I poked a bit in other people's lives, and I don't know why, but at least I tried. I poked a bit, so like I kind of try to ask questions about the environment around me and everything, but the questions I would ask would really bother people. I feel like it helps, but usually other people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, oh, sorry. I don't, at least I knew from actually doing it how it all went out. It can make you paranoid. So, like, the, bothersome of don't come back, or you're gonna frickin' go to jail for this. We told you not to come back and you came back. I had this one synth at the end that I was doing I thought it was great when I was creating it. When I listened back, it didn't work. Howling at the Moon shares the idea that one can improve the environment around you no matter where you are in the world. I wanted to create an interesting way of introducing the title as the song intro. I got somebody to do the trumpet. Oh god, she did a beautiful job again on the first try and everything. She really seemed, basically anybody who gets it right first time must go through it this often. But yeah, again, this is kind of like structure where it's like it goes forwards and then it goes backwards. A, B, C, B, A. Instrumentally, it's that way. There was a song that inspired me to kind of make the structure a little unusual here. Basically, it's like chorus, and then it's like only one verse, and then the bridge comes in. I don't really like two verses a lot of the time, honestly. There have been some songs lately where I've been hearing it and I'm like, oh, the verses are great. It's whether it repeats the great melody or it like kind of changes to another great melody are ones that work out more. But for the most part, it's just like copy paste. It's kind of like boxed. And I'm like, I've heard better, guys, come on. And sometimes I can't even think of like a second verse for what to say. So only one verse. I have a hard time remembering how I want to scat, like, until, like, I'm performing the song. So there's a chance that, like, I would be, like, in the studio, I'm making it instrumental, but then on stage, I'm going to be a lot more bored and want to do more, so I would probably do some scatting. I had a hard time with the chorus, this part with like singing, how I wanted it to work out to make it like stronger than the first time the chorus plays or the second. So, yeah. In the ending, I was like trying to like yell, "It is now time to howl, howl at the moon now." I was gonna try to see if other people could come in and yell that, because I didn't think I was good at yelling that. I sound like a dork when I yell, in my opinion. And I also had like clapping that I was preparing. The guy I worked with in the studio, when I was clapping, he's like, "Okay, we gotta separate the clapping from your voice." I'm like, "Okay." So then I do that, and then he's like, "I want to do like a pan of clapping, like all over the place, like different sections of like the headphones panning, etc." So, like where you can hear it in your headphones if you don't know what panning is. Yeah, I ended up getting rid of that. I just decided to go with howling. I wanted to sound like I was multiple wolves no matter what, so it managed to work out. Magician is about using your skills to help you get farther in life. There are cons to this, though, that if you are more known for it, you'll start feeling like a celebrity. This is in the sense that people will not stop bothering you with their admiration or disgust for you. This is another song where it's like I've got a jazzy vibe. Like I got a one genre vibe for like the instrumentation, and then the drums that come in are a bit more of like a basic rock beat with a jazz thing. They just came up that way. I was experimenting and I was like, wow, this actually sounds really cool. The instrumental that I have for this was a lot more like I was trying to figure out what the heck to do with it. I wanted to kind of lyrically say like, okay, is this kind of like a little parallel world I'm going into, or what's going on? I wanted to make the chorus instrumental. Again, live, I feel more comfortable like scatting and stuff, because I mean, I don't have to hear myself doing that when I'm listening to this song, but I love doing it. So I think it actually does work out more that I'm scatting live. I tend to, when I'm working on music, I tend not to think of like one specific genre vibe or anything, but it kind of seems like the better I do is when I'm looking at genre vibes. So I mean, this part and the bridge, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I was going for. Something I'd like to work on is usually when I'm singing along with a melody. I'm not giving it its own melody. I'm like, oh crap, I need to do that. But like, what I can do is like, if I'm hearing a song, sometimes I kind of walk in like my own rhythm and it matches to work out. Kind of like what I'm doing here, it's like I was thinking of like a jazz vibe and I'm like, okay, keep it as jazz as you can. And then I like found a rock vibe and it worked out. Basic rock vibe for drumming. I've always been kind of a fan of jazz. That's like the one genre anybody can play it and I'll love it. I've always kind of wanted to put jazz into my music because it's a lot more like experimental and like you can mess up with it and it sounds good, with like the rhythm or what you're choosing to drum or how you drum like work with its own unique rhythm, makes it its thing. That was jazz. This part, I kept one instrument in the same key, and then I pitched up everything else for other keys on the other instruments. So, yeah, so it sounds like a complete key change, but it's like an almost complete key change. Just one instrument is still at its original key. Renaissance 2 is the other main message. It teaches how you can come together to help make the world a better place. The lesson in this track says if you want to be a leader, look at other leaders that are great an example of being that better leader. The referred melody is Für Elise by Ludwig van Beethoven. I don't know if anybody remembers or knows about that one DDR song called Speed Over Beethoven. That's what inspired me to get into this. It's a little cutesy, sped up version of Verlies. And you kind of add lyrics over it. I think that's what kind of inspired me to go like instrumental. And then singing over that instrumental in like your own way. I wanted to make it its own like different. I wanted to make like da 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 da, you know, that melody, and then I wanted to add all these different melodies to kind of make it into its own song as well. I mean, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong because I'm looking at a long time ago where the music was made, and anybody can do a cover of it or anything. Why not have it as a part of a writing process to like re-melodize what you heard before? I'm not gonna do that a whole lot in the future later on. I just thought it really worked for this album. Like I like getting a little more experimental with my work, but and this kind of experiments in like a different way because it's like you're taking what you know and putting it in another world. I remember watching like this one, it's like a old Mickey Mouse cartoon where Santa's like playing jingle bells on a keyboard. The melody sounds really different than what we hear from it today, so that too inspired me to get it on the route that I have here with Verlies. I remember playing this song when I was a kid on the piano too. It was fun. Yep. Rise of the Utopia is meant to give imagination as to what you see as a better place. The utopia you may imagine is increasing with each second of the track. Alrighty, so Rise of the Utopia, I want to keep it instrumental so you're more likely to use your imagination by listening to the music. Melodically and sonically, I was inspired actually by the Crystal Method. They did a song called Metro, and I was like, ooh, I thought it would be really cool to make something like that someday, where it's got its own world to it and everything. I like crazy little noises. I kind of like to imagine this as like, you know, like beautiful buildings just like rising and rising and rising. A structure, can't go wrong with it. A is the chorus, B is the kind of build up of that. Whenever I think of like the question answer formation for stuff, I usually go like nuts, and I usually don't like what I do. It's way too predictable. I think I kind of escapes it a little bit by trying out something different with it. I would like to improve that in the future too. There's a lot I'd like to do in the future to make it more like innovative and stuff, but I mean, what I end up coming up with, it's still great to me. It's still a part of my world. It still puts me in a different direction in my mindset, and it's nice. It's more about like experimenting and then see where it goes from there. The last two tracks of discussion are the remix and the recreation. These are not part of part 1 or part 2 for this album. This is not a part 3, as it is more of an afterthought of the biggest ideas. The Mascara remix has the same meaning as the original Mascara track. There are added lyrics due to seeing everyone shine, and it gets in my way all the time. So I worked with Antma before, and we created the Swan Feathers remix. I like how he gave it its own like happy popsy vibe. I wanted to see if I could do that with this song as well. The reason I added lyrics, I got inspired actually by Donna Chromatica. I'm not gonna lie. I get inspired by Lady Gaga a lot. She's incredible. Yeah, but it's like I wanted to create like kind of like a different vibe, say different words on it, so it could be its own song as well. I'm for it. I actually did sing it differently than the original because I wanted to make sure it was in the right key. Eventually, I do sing lyrics. I don't have an instrumental of this song. I'm gonna let you know when it comes up. No matter what season it is, there are autumn leaves are falling and they're in my way. But I'm colorful anyway. So like, I feel like that little part I added is kind of more to match with the previous verse. Like I said before, I usually don't like doing second verses. I originally made it, as you can hear earlier, a much shorter second verse. But then this time I was like, it just kind of would be nothing if I added more to it, so I decided to add the fall autumn leaves section. But I thought Antma did a great job of remixing it. I wanted like that key change and everything, so it's kind of its own beautiful landscape too. No matter what season it is, there are autumn leaves are falling and are in my way, but I'm colorful anyway. Renaissance 3 is a recreation of the track Howling at the Moon. I wanted to give it a different meaning, sharing that you can also join in on making the environment a better place. The referred melody is Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin. I liked using different parts of Rhapsody in Blue because it's got its own beautiful melodies and everything. I wanted to create another world with the melodies. This is kind of like the question part. And then it goes to like different answers for the same question, basically. I think I do that more for question answer form. And I have a tendency to kind of like stop at parts and then come in. I wanted to give it a little more suspense by like stopping, and then it comes in like quite later than I usually would do. Moon is a friend for the lonesome to talk to, just in case you're lonely. I actually got inspired by a post somebody did on Facebook. It was basically like clouds and a moon, and it said, "The moon is a friend for the lonesome to talk to." And I was like, "Oh, that's brilliant." And then I said, "Just in case you're lonely." And I kind of imagined it in that same like Rhapsody in Blue format of singing. And I want to tie that into like you can get involved as well. You can howl at the moon whenever you want. Make the world a better place around you as well. See, this melody, I think it's towards the beginning of Rhapsody in Blue. I like have a hard time remembering it from the original. I did kind of like tweak up how I wanted to hear it too melodically as well. You know, I feel like kind of this is kind of orchestrated with synths in a way, as opposed to my regular work. I'm just kind of like performing that. I usually imagine that to be like, when I'm doing orchestration, that's more like emotional and everything. I think I want to keep it orchestrated because I liked how they orchestrated it in the original Rhapsody in Blue track. But I'm kind of wondering why I made it more orchestrated, honestly. I think it was because I wanted to keep that vibe, but I don't see this as like a super emotional song, honestly. It's just kind of more like a lesson that I want to teach everybody that like I'm howling at the moon. I'm doing great. The world around me is getting better. Cuz it's like we live in like an ecosystem and we have our own parts to it as well. So whatever you want to do to make the world a better place around you, then you can do it. Thanks so much for listening to everything. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in learning who concocted what for this album, the link to all the credits belongs in the description.